We gather today in person and at home to worship God. We come seeking comfort, inspiration, community, and insight. We come seeking forgiveness for our sins and the courage to do what is right for the well-being of our community. We come seeking patience during the ongoing days of social distancing and creative ways in which we can care for one another safely. Grateful that the community of faith sustains us. Even while separated, we gather today to give thanks for all that God has given us.
Welcome back to all who are in attendance today and those of you in TV land watching via the modern technology of video and YouTube. We're grateful that we can do that. We especially welcome visitors today. We're sorry that we can't provide the coffee fellowship and the usual warm welcome, but you are indeed welcome. We're glad all of you are here. Please wear your mask while inside the building. And please exit through the door through which you came into the building so we can keep fewer and fewer people out congregating at the doors. Thanks to Ina and Jim Heup for providing our music today in the absence of our organist, Marcia Foxgrover. Marcia has had a health issue, non-COVID, and she is on the mend and will be back with us next Sunday. But we thank you for being here today, Jim and Ina. Next Sunday, we will honor our confirmands with a virtual gathering. Now, if you looked at the e-blast from this morning, it's incorrect. It says today. My brain is on another planet, and I'm working on so many days, I forget what day it is, and there we have it. So it is next Sunday, not today. Following the 10 o'clock service, there will be a brief outdoor ceremony to confirm their decision of faith, and then we invite all of you to join in a caravan of vehicles on Chestnut Street to congratulate them. If you show up in the parking lot, there will be attendants there and people to tell you how to get around and go through, and we'll be glad to do that to congratulate them. We are saddened to announce the death of Alice Guzman, Rick's mother. Alice was an occasional attendee here at our church with her family, and I thank you for keeping Rick and Desiree and Micah and Josie in your prayers in the days ahead. I invite you to some moment of silent prayer that you may find your time with God, and then Martin Forward will lead us in our prayer this morning.
Eternal God, our Father and our Mother, and many things besides, you are so much more than we can ever know or experience. Help us then never to take you for granted, or to domesticate you, or to fall into the impertinence of thinking that we have a lock on your plans for us and others. We see you in the changing seasons. Now, as the temperature and the leaves begin to fall and delight our senses, we are overwhelmed by colour and beauty. We encounter you in the love of families and friends, in a smile, a shared moment of humour or joy, or a remembrance of something past and meaningful to us. And in the cry of a baby, the affection of a pet, you are there to remind us how wonderful a gift is the life you give us. We also meet you in challenges that you give us strength to face and to overcome. In dark times, the memories of your past love for us enables us to believe and even to know that you still care, and so we endure. Help us on life's way to pay attention to what you're telling us in countless different ways. As we meet you in beauty, truth, and goodness, transform us into embodiments of these virtues. For, after all, Christian faith teaches us the breathtaking truth that you became like us so that we can become like you. So may our lives help your will to be done on earth as it is in heaven, forever and ever. Amen. The Lord's Prayer. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us today our daily bread, and forgive us our sins, as we forgive those who sin against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. Thine is the kingdom, the power, and the glory.
Out of need and out of custom, we have gathered here again. To the gathering we are bringing love and laughter, grief and pain. Some believing, some rejoicing, some in fear and some in doubt. Come we now, our questions voicing, we would search these matters out. Come we now, our masks displaying, fearing that we shall be known. Foolish games forever playing, feeling meanwhile so alone. Let pretensions far be broken, to be human let us dare. Let the truth in love be spoken, let us now the questing share. We have heard the glowing stories of the acts which God has done, of the power and the glory of God's love in Christ the Son, God of human transformation, for your presence now we pray. Lead us ever on the journey as we gather here today.
An Old Testament lesson which is in today's lectionary reading is from the book of Exodus, chapter 16, and starting at verse 2. The whole congregation of the Israelites complained against Moses and Aaron in the wilderness. The Israelites said to them, "If only we had died by the hand of the Lord in the land of Egypt, when we sat by the flesh pots and ate our fill of bread. For you have brought us out in the wilderness to kill this whole community with hunger." Then the Lord said to Moses, "I am going to rain bread from heaven for you, and each day the people shall go out and gather up enough for the day. In that way I will test them, whether they will follow my instruction or not. On the 6th day, when they prepare what they bring in, it will be twice as much as they gather on other days." So Moses and Aaron said to all the Israelites, "In the evening you shall know that it was the Lord who brought you out of the land of Egypt. And in the morning you shall see the glory of the Lord, because he has heard your complaining against the Lord. For what are we that you should complain against us?" And Moses said, "When the Lord gives you meat to eat in the evening and your fill of bread in the morning, because the Lord has heard the complaining that you utter against him, what are we? Your complaining is not against us, but against the Lord." Then Moses said to Aaron, "Say to the whole congregation of the Israelites, 'Draw near to the Lord, for he has heard your complaining.'" And as Aaron spoke to the whole congregation of the Israelites, they looked toward the wilderness, and the glory of the Lord appeared in the cloud. The Lord spoke to Moses and said, "I have heard the complaining of the Israelites. Say to them, at twilight you shall eat meat, and in the morning you shall have your fill of bread. Then you shall know that I am the Lord your God." In the evening quails came up and covered the camp, and in the morning there was a layer of dew around the camp. When the layer of dew lifted, there on the surface of the wilderness was a fine, flaky substance, as fine as the frost on the ground. When the Israelites saw it, they said to one another, "What is it?" For they did not know what it was. Moses said to them, "It is the bread that the Lord has given you to eat." So, picture the scene. Centuries ago, a horde of people expelled from Egypt, wandering around the Sinai Peninsula, uncertain of what the future will be. They were footsore, boiling hot during the day, freezing cold at night, and very, very hungry, with no food in sight in the inhospitable terrain through which they were wandering. They blame Moses and Aaron for the state they're in. They moan, "You brought us here. We should have stayed in Egypt. Things were better there." They weren't. In Egypt, they'd been enslaved and forced into grinding manual labor, building 2 large supply cities. For a while, their baby sons had been killed in an attempt by the Egyptian king to reduce their numbers. All that appalling past was forgotten as they sat in the desert and grumbled about present misfortunes to Moses and Aaron. And implicitly, they were also criticizing God, for God was the one who, by deeds of wonder and terror, had forced Pharaoh's hands to let God's people go. The people went, and now, their memories rearranged by hunger and anger and looked at through rose-tinted glasses, they were looking for someone to blame. It's easier and less nerve-wracking to blame God's human colleagues rather than God himself. So Moses and Aaron face the brunt of their discontentment. Then God does his stuff and provides for his people bread in the wilderness and quails as well, and still they kvetch and complain. But that's to take us beyond the scope of today's lectionary reading and what I want to say about it. Based on the reading, I did think of a sermon about the grass always being greener in someone else's yard, or in the yard we used to own. Humans have an infinite capacity to grumble about the present and to contrast it with what once was, ideally reimagined. So many people get to my age and say, oh, young people today, not like when I was a lad. Other people, or fate, are to blame for the present awful state of things. But thinking like that is no way to live a life of honour and integrity, of reality and purpose, of meaning and fulfillment. Still, I want to talk about something else that this story tells us and that it's easy to miss. Put simply, God's care for us doesn't depend on human goodness or human achievement. It is spontaneously and freely given. Many of us value ourselves in terms of our achievements. We are more interested in how we see ourselves than how others see us. People look at their bank balance, their bloodline, their career, or at other things that measure their worth by a standard that highlights their own achievements. There's a problem with doing this. None of us get to where we are or become who we are without good or bad luck and without the help of others. Some are born to poverty, others to wealth. Some people have remarkable gifts, whereas others have more humdrum talents. There is no virtue in one or vice in the other, though I've met many rich people who think that their fortune of birth or marriage or inheritance makes them special, and many multi-talented people who don't own to the genetic fluke that makes them so. The lottery of life mostly plays a far greater role in the possibilities open to us and who we become than anything we are and do. You'll have heard the slogan, "I'm worth it. I deserve it." I hate it. It's contemptibly self-satisfied. Of course, I'm proud of some of the achievements of my life, including the jobs I had before I recently called it a day and retired. But there was a huge measure of good fortune that led to me teaching at Cambridge University, and then again here in Aurora. I was aided by an intelligence that I had and an accident of genes and also good fortune. The concept of a self-made man or woman is usually misleading. Nobody fashions their own life unaided by others. Gratitude and humility should be our response to the good things we have become and done, not the foolishly egocentric notion that I'm worth it, and deserve the good things that have come my way. Even more foolish and wicked is to thoughtlessly despise people who've not been as fortunate as us. To be sure, they may be losers, squandering the opportunities that they had. But just as likely, if not more so, they simply did not have the good fortune and the opportunities that we did. Christians, like members of many religions, are often inclined to think that God cares for us and not for others, because we've done or accomplished something useful and rewarding, or are someone of worth and merit. Many of those wandering, grumbling Jews in the desert thought that they were a cut above other people because out of all the other nations upon earth, God had chosen them as his special people. Centuries before, God had promised Abraham that his descendants would be great in number and a blessing to others. By the standards of other great powers of the day, Jews might seem to be insignificant. Egyptians, Assyrians, Hittites, and others, all these at one time or another strutted their stuff on the stage of the ancient Mediterranean world in ways that Jews never could. But God had nevertheless chosen the Jews. They were special. And some of them thought that this made them a cut above others, whereas others, wiser and more clear-sighted, understood that they were chosen to be and to do something, a light to the nations, not selected because they were superior. And as more than one Testament writer pointed out to smug and self-satisfied people, God also chose other people for similar or different purposes. To be sure, God cared for his people, the Jews. He sent them to Egypt in Joseph's time when there was famine, and he brought them out of Egypt when they were persecuted. This was not because they were high achievers or nice or obedient or grateful. One example is today's reading. Here they are in the desert, stupidly moaning away about all they'd lost in Egypt, when in fact they'd been in danger of genocide there. Moses found them to be ungrateful, disobedient, and self-serving, and really stupid. Their chosenness was not of their deserving. It was of God's love. Even when they abandoned God, Aaron among them, to worship a golden calf, God remains steadfast. He punishes his people, to be sure, but he never abandons them. What does God's care for humans depend on then, if not our own achievements and sense of self-worth? God's love depends on who she is, not who and what we are. Human understandings of God have developed over time. Some stories from the time of Moses make him seem bizarre, eccentric, manipulative, and downright scary. Yet we also notice, as here, how he cares for his people, so that his loyalty to and love for them isn't compromised or threatened by his irritation with their disobedience and unfaithfulness. God loves because it is God's nature to love, not because she's proud of us, still less because we've perfectly obeyed her rules and regulations or forged our own destiny to our own satisfaction. We can take advantage of God's grace and grumble away about foolish things. Even more, we can abuse God's good nature. We can be wicked and shameless people who convince ourselves that we can get away with murder because God is a snowflake, too sentimental to do anything other than wring his hands at our malice and our follies. That way lies judgment and disaster. For the Jews in the desert were called to account for their shortcomings. None of the first generation of Jews who left Egypt entered the promised land, save for 2 of them. It was their children and their grandchildren who did. Similarly, if we follow too much the devices and desires of our own hearts and wander away from the source of life and love, there is no hope for us. But it is God's delight to cherish us, even in terrible times, wandering in the wilderness or in the midst of a pandemic. This cherishing, not because we are worth it, but because of God's loving kindness. Whether we are Martin Forward or Donald Trump or Jeff Bezos or Angela Merkel or whoever, we are who we are because of good fortune in a world where all are sustained by God's love and God's justice. We would be foolish and lost in a wilderness of our own making to think and act otherwise. After the benediction, there will be a postlude, after which please leave through the door through which you came. There's a book about that, I think, isn't there? Yes? So let us pray. The Lord bless you and keep you. The Lord make his face to shine upon you and be gracious unto you. And the Lord lift up the light of his countenance upon you and give you peace today and always. Amen.